Government shutdown, federal government shutdown. We are in day 4 now of this federal government shutdown, and the parties involved are not even close to being anywhere near getting to an agreement. And as I've been looking in terms of what both parties are saying, I think that this government shutdown could very well be the longest that we've seen in the history of the United States of America. Remember that the longest shutdown that you've had was in 2018, 2019, when President Trump was president and the Democrat Party had control of Congress, and it lasted 35 days. And that was over a dispute around the border security, with President Trump building the border wall, and the Democrats didn't want to include border wall funding into that continued resolution CR. Before that, there was a government shutdown in 2013 when President Obama was president, and there was a dispute about Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. So these shutdowns are not common, they don't happen often, but President Trump now has had 2 shutdowns happening under his presidency, which is uncommon because the party that is in the minority often votes to pass the budget. That is something that is often considered as common courtesy. For 4 years, Biden was president, and Republicans in the Senate voted to pass his budget. 13 times they voted to pass his budget, even though they didn't agree with it, because they understood that the president in power needed the budget in order for the government to function. But Democrats hate Trump so much that they don't want to do that. When Chuck Schumer gave a green light for Democrats to vote to pass the budget in March, he was threatened beyond words by Democrats. So what's likely to happen now is that 4 days into this shutdown is probably going to last 3 weeks to 4 weeks. It could potentially last longer than that. This could potentially be the longest shutdown in the history of the United States of America. It could go longer than 40 days. Because the Democrats at this point, they are so unhinged, and they hate President Trump so much that there is nothing that can be discussed with these people. Nothing can be. People who have lost elections, who don't realize the fact that you lost an election. Therefore, for the sake of the government functioning, 10 of you needs to vote for this budget to pass, because that is the rule that is there in the Senate. And this rule is very important, because if this rule was not there, government would be so unstable if every bill would be passed by a simple majority, even in the Senate. So this 60 vote rule or filibuster rule is very important for the stability and the certainty of reliability of the laws that get passed in the federal government. Because if each and every government that goes into power would be able to just change laws by just a simple matter of a simple majority, no one would be able to rely on anything, because every 4 years laws would change. And if every 4 years laws would change, that would mean that business can't rely on laws, organizations can't rely on laws, families can't rely on, no one can rely on anything. You can't plan anything. You can't plan your life, you can't live your life. So this filibuster rule is very, very important for the stability and the sanity of being able to actually plan your life in the United States of America. But it requires both parties to be sane and to be rational. And the Democratic Party right now is not a rational party. Which is why I was saying in a prior video that Republicans need to start doing what they are doing. If they refuse to pass Republican budgets, then we also need to stop passing their budgets. Because what else are they going to respond to? What's good for the goose must also be good for the gander. That's the only thing that will be good enough in this regard. But I've also been incredibly surprised by the amount of lies that Democrats are peddling in the media about what's going on with this. What are the causes of this shutdown? They are denying the fact that they are trying to allow illegals to have taxpayer funded healthcare, even though we have seen the bill that they suggested, their budget, and their budget definitely covers medical care for illegals, and they are denying it. One thing that I've realized about Democrats is that these people are liars, man. These people would lie through their teeth. They lie about everything and about anything. If someone can really lie about something that is written black and white on a bill that they are putting forward, like, I can't even imagine. And the worst part of it is that the media in the United States of America is controlled by Democrats. So, but at the very least, the American people are aware of the fact that the media is the public relations arm of the Democratic Party. So there's nothing that you would hear from CNN or NBC or MSNBC or CBS or ABC that is reliable. Yeah, but yeah, these folks are liars, man. They lie, 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 lie. But let's see how far it's going to go. I think it's going to last at least 3 weeks. I would be very surprised if it lasts, because we know that by next week that would mean it's been 2 weeks since the government has been shut down. So it's very possible that the government will be shut down for the entire duration of October, and potentially even longer. But let's see how that goes.